Hello, and you're very, very welcome to the JMac podcast. Of course, I'm John McMahon, and this podcast is brought to you by yorkrich.com. Use the pro code JMac podcast, get 15% off on the website. Coming up to Christmas, so get your hands on their gear dropping now in the couple of weeks up. There's some lovely gear on the website, so get your hands on it. And today I'm joined by St. Vincent's and former Donegal footballer Nathan Mullins to talk about his legend of a dad, obviously Brian Mullins, who passed away only a short time ago. And obviously Nathan's kind of GAA journey thus far, and there's just a bit of crack, a bit of banter for the next while. So Nathan, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks very much for having me on.
No problem at all. I feel very underdressed.
Oh, well, listen, I don't usually dress like this. I'm just in from a gig in Shelburne with the Dublin senior football team. They invited myself and my partner in, so I'm only after coming in the door there. So otherwise, I would have had a tracksuit on me. not a Cavan jersey, but a tracksuit anyway.
Yeah, you wouldn't be seeing Cavan jersey. Probably God help you.
I've never offered one. Maybe I would in a training session with the club or something. But no, I haven't had one before now.
Yeah, sure. No, could arrange an Oracle one for you, no problem. If you're ever interested, we can get you over to the darker, slightly maybe lighter side of blue more than Nathan. But so how's life, sir?
Yeah. No, the jersey scene, they're getting more and more competitive every year. They launched the Dublin one there last week as well, and they were giving a few away at that gig today. But no, there's some nice kits coming out there, 100%.
Yeah, no, some lovely kids coming out. I suppose, how's life been for you, Nathan? I suppose it's probably been probably a bit of a life change in the last couple of months for you, obviously with your legend. Well, of course, we'll touch on your dad now in a couple of minutes, but I suppose how's life been for you? Obviously, it's probably the most difficult experience someone can go through, losing a parent, but and obviously the legacy Brian left behind them. But I suppose how's things personally been for you?
No, thanks very much for asking. It's been strange. It has been, but luckily we have a huge support network there between the club and Dublin GAA and all the other colleges and teams and friends my dad's had over the years in our own family. We've a lot of people there who are kind of checking in and touching base. So it's been difficult for everyone. But look, my dad wouldn't want anybody kind of moping around and feeling sorry for yourself. So look, it is strange to get used to, but I suppose you just keep going.
Absolutely, Nathan, 100%. And I suppose, as I did kind of remark, it is definitely the most challenging experience someone can kind of go through, and obviously the aftermath and time really does fly. Really, when you think about it, like the month anniversary, second anniversary, and it doesn't be long coming around to the year, I suppose, Nathan. So, I suppose, how have you maybe obviously a young family there? You've obviously your partner there too, but I suppose how have you maybe adjusted to everything?
There hasn't been that much adjusting, really. I suppose you're just getting used to not picking up the phone and ringing them or dropping down to a meeting for a coffee. It'll be strange now. We had a senior two championship final in the weeks after my dad passed. So since then, it's kind of been a bit of an off season. But I'm expecting to find it very strange when I go back for pre-season January and February and I don't see my dad helping out, putting nets up or filling water bottles or even just being around the club in general, meeting people and having meetings. So I'll expect to find that difficult as time goes on. But yeah, I suppose my son turned 2 a couple of weeks ago. It was strange not having him around there and a few other bits and pieces. But starting to just accept it, I suppose that's all you can do.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a big, massive game changer, I suppose, Nathan. I suppose the legacy, obviously, your dad Brian did leave behind probably one of the most recognisable faces and names in GAA, I suppose, folklore, Nathan. I suppose, so if you want to maybe give a brief outline and I suppose how much of a legend Brian was.
Yeah, like myself and my siblings and my family, we would have all, I suppose, thought we had a huge understanding of my dad's status, but it's only since he's passed, really, it's exceeded our expectations. There's still so many people getting in touch by email or phone or social media to tell a story or to say when they met him or came across him or how he might have helped them between UCD, Vincent's, GAA, different parts of the world like New York where he would have worked and stuff like that as well. So it's just been incredible the amount of people that have touched base with us and I'm expecting to continue for a long time as well. But look, he's had a helping hand. It's not just GAA, it's particularly in UCD, there's so many different sports to do out there, the students. Then he's played a huge helping hand with Leinster Rugby be getting set up in UCD too, and they've been very thankful and they've been very helpful, and with again touching base with us and making sure it was okay and offering support in any way they can. So there's just so many different sporting avenues that my dad's been involved in, and I suppose that was a huge surprise. Maybe we were a bit naive, just thinking he was just into the GAA over the last number of years.
Yeah, and obviously had a massive impact on everyone's lives, wasn't it? And obviously, like the legend that he was, and part of all them great Dublin teams in the past. And we've seen the videos and bits and pieces on YouTube, and obviously on news bulletins and everything when your dad did kind of pass away. So I suppose a remarkable man, really, Nathan.
Yeah, and looked all those clips and footage that you see is just, I suppose it's they've been replayed the whole time on various different media avenues. I suppose it's just testament to what people thought of him. It's great to see the old footage and even some of the clips on YouTube and RT News. They've nearly brought him back to life in HD viewing and stuff. It's great to see, and we spoke about a lot today at that Dublin lunch I was at. And look, it's not just my dad, it's that whole team. It's the likes of Tommy Drum, Dave Hickey, Tony Hanaho. They've had such an impact on Dublin football and GAA, the whole country. So it's great to watch back in the old footage, and it just there's been so much success in recent years with Dublin. It kind of just adds to the history.
Absolutely does. I suppose, what's your earliest memories of your dad, Nathan? I suppose obviously he probably made the player you are today. Like when you were a young lad, I suppose obviously looking up to him. But I suppose, what's your earliest memories of your dad?
Just growing up in Donegal, I suppose, from being maybe 4 or 5 years of age, in Carndonagh in the Shone, probably just in the back garden kicking football. And I would have been predominantly right-footed growing up, but I think going into my teenage years, he would have focused a lot more on my left foot. So from an early age, 9, 10 years of age, he would have been trying to get me to hand pass my left hand and kick and solo with my left foot. So not that he ever pushed me or into playing GAA. He loves sport, as I mentioned earlier on, but just fond memories of, I suppose, trying to develop the fundamentals and skill of not just Gaelic football, but any sporting activity that I was involved in Carndonagh.
Yeah, I suppose obviously he was a great lead pad for you to get involved in GAA. And I suppose when you were kind of playing, and obviously still playing to this day, Nathan, I suppose, like, did you ever kind of mirror your game off your dad, and kind of, like, obviously of course you did look up to him, but mirror your game off when look at different attributes that he had, and you kind of brought it onto the pitch yourself?
Yeah, like, again, looking at footage, you would try to, particularly probably with, trying to time catching a kick out and things like that. I'd like to think I've got the same kind of physique and athleticism my dad had. He was well able to cover a pitch, and thankfully I've got a little, maybe not as much pace as I would have had a couple of years ago, but I have that a bit of turn of pace and the fitness to get around the pitch. But it was timing of kickouts and kind of, I would have had to work hard when I was 16 or 17. I would have been very skinny, and he would have helped me try and bulk up a bit, I suppose. Coming into senior football, trying to win a high ball with somebody who was a bit stronger than you, and timing a bit of an elbow underneath the ball and stuff to make sure you get your hands to it. So I suppose little techniques on that he would have had a lot of advice on.
Absolutely. I suppose, how much of an impact, I suppose, has he really made on, like, Dublin GAA and obviously St Vincent's as a whole, Nathan? Because obviously you've probably seen in recent weeks and months, maybe when he was alive and going through your emotions, but maybe when you get a chance to reflect now, like, how much of an impact has he had on, I suppose, the organisation itself?
He has had a huge impact, and there's probably past players and managers and fans that will be able to tell you a lot better than I could, but I think it's just my dad in that era. Like, from what people tell me, just around the dressing room and around the gym and around the change room and stuff like that years ago, he just had a standard that he tried to bring everyone up to with him. And I suppose my dad was able to learn from Kevin Heffernan and Mickey Whelan, and that kind of filtered through to the likes of my dad. And my dad brought that back to Vincent's as well. And you see the old pictures and trophies around the club. And I suppose people just know by looking at those from the 70s that's the standard those men were at, and you want to add to those photos and add to those trophies. So I suppose without even talking about it or putting his arm around someone, you can just look around the club and see what the standard was like back in the 70s, you know.
Yeah, I don't know, like an unbelievable kind of standard, I suppose. Like even like, when you're kind of still playing, like, do you ever feel, obviously, of course, there's pressure on all players when they go out to kind of perform for their club or their county, but you know, obviously being the son of Brian, like, did you ever feel like there's that more kind of pressure on you, or did you just kind of always want to just go out and deliver and do your best?
To be honest, like, maybe at times I would have felt a bit of pressure here and there, but I just embraced it as best I could. Like, my dad would have been a great believer in, you know, just get out and work hard. If the game's not going well for you, just get on the next ball. And I know Roy Keane was kind of doing the rounds saying, you know, you hit someone just to make yourself feel better. Like, that was the same type of thing my dad and that era of people would say, that, you know, just get a hit on somebody, get the next ball. And if you kick one away, it's the next one. And it's just to kind of keep looking forward, not looking back.
Absolutely. I suppose kind of to summarize, Nathan, obviously your dad's passing, and obviously you've been maybe reading tweets and emails and texts you've kind of got. Like, have you been absolutely blown away by, I suppose, maybe the outpour of emotion from everything since?
Yeah, genuinely, it's been nothing short of incredible. Like, obviously direct family members have been so emotional, and we have our own memories of being around home and family occasions, but to hear so many stories, and as I said, like, there's been letters coming to my house, my brother's house back in Donegal, old pictures from New York, people coming up to me today, even at that event that my dad would have taught in Greendale and Kilbarrack. Like, between the wake and the funeral, there's just people coming from every corner of the world, honestly, to come and shake your hand and tell a short story and just pass on the condolences. So no, it really has been. I could never explain with my vocabulary just how unbelievable it is, and we've been so thankful to everyone, because it genuinely just has been incredible.
Absolutely. I suppose can obviously with work, and obviously as you're saying, obviously your wee one was 2 recently. I suppose, like, all in all, like, he'll be a huge loss in your life, but no doubt you just kind of want to keep making strides in your life and suppose make him proud.
Yeah, of course. Like, look, I suppose what obsessed me the most is that he won't get to see my son play for Vincent's. My partner had a baby 4 months ago as well. There was a bit of a time where we thought that he might not make it to see her, but thankfully they did get to meet on a couple of occasions before he passed. But look, to make my dad proud would just be keep going on, keep trying to be successful in the club, look after my partner, my family, and the same for my siblings. And he was just a great believer of enjoying life, and just taking each day as it comes, because as we all know, it's the old cliche, life is short, anything can happen. And my dad's passing was just proof of that for myself. So I suppose, live life to the fullest.
Brilliant stuff, great tribute, Nathan, and obviously we sincere condolences still to you guys, and what a legend of GAA Brian Mullins was, and he'll go down in GAA folklore as one of the greatest. And I suppose, Nathan, kind of to focus in on yourself, obviously you've been representing St Vincent's, and you represented obviously the Donegal senior footballers as well in recent years. I suppose St Vincent's as a club, we know how successfully he's been down through the years and littered with talent, and I get exhausted every time I see Mossy Quinn still playing for you. So, Vincent's there for you, Nathan.
Yeah. Sorry, no, Tomas is still going. He's still running around rings everyone he comes up against, to be honest. I think he just enjoys it the older he gets. He just wants to challenge himself more and more. But no, Vincent's has been like, I don't know where I'd be without the club, and that goes for my dad and my whole family as well. My mother's dad was actually a founding member of the club, so it's kind of in my DNA now, to say the least. But yeah, Vincent's is, look, we've had huge success up until maybe 4 or 5 years ago. There's been a bit of a changeover in personnel around the team and the club, so hopefully we can emulate some of the glory days in the past. But look, as I mentioned earlier, the club just has that standard, and it's there for any youth coming through to try and get their picture on the wall or get their trophy in the cabinet down the club, and that's just what everyone strives towards, whether it be football. The Camogie team are doing amazing at the moment. They've they've been knocking on the door for a long time in Leinster, and finally they got the win they deserve. So we're all supporting them at the moment. But yeah, the footballers and the hurlers and everyone else, we're just trying to rack up as much trophies as we can.
I suppose obviously kind of touching on to some of the success and obviously All Ireland success even in 2016, Nathan. Obviously we know obviously that we could touch on to Jeremy Connolly now in a few minutes, the talent and prowess that man has. But all the success in recent years of the Leinster club wins and All Ireland runs he's had, Nathan, in years gone by, really enjoyable and successful period for the club.
Definitely, yeah. No, it was amazing. It was great to be part of that, those squads and that journey, and we're obviously very proud of winning the All Ireland against Castlebar Mitchells that day. But I think we've left one behind us. We were probably a little bit off on the day against Corofin in the semi-final the following year. But I think the year Slot Neil beat us, we left that one behind us. I felt we would have been in control of that game, only for Christian McKegg had an absolute unbelievable second half, and we just weren't reactive to what was going on. So unfortunately got the better of us that day. But yeah, I suppose there's one or two regrets about not adding one more All Ireland to it. But nevertheless, a couple of Dublin championships there, Leinster and an All Ireland. It was a hugely successful period for the club, and very enjoyable. A lot of amazing memories with some of my best friends.
I suppose obviously, Nathan, we throughout maybe on the Dublin GAA TV on YouTube, we get to watch a couple of the games, and obviously it's ferociously competitive. So it's the Dublin Club Championship, but maybe as a whole, Nathan, obviously when you guys are competing in it, I suppose how competitive and enjoyable of a championship is it to play in, because it just looks dog eat dog.
Yeah, no, it is. Like every club could beat anyone on their day. The league itself has probably actually got more competitive, I think, in the last couple of years. I suppose I suppose if you take away the year or two with COVID, with the way that they're trying to separate the county scene and the club scene, it's made the club probably league campaign more competitive now, because obviously some of the Dublin lads want to play with their clubs. And then when it comes to championship, then look, everybody, with the way video analysis is now, and strength conditioning, when it comes to club championship, everyone's at their peak. And then look, it's as you said, it's dog eat dog, and you're just trying to do everything you can to try and get a win across the board. But it's tough. Every game's tough. Like for instance, we got relegated last year, and thankfully we've come straight back up now to Senior 1. But we have a big winter ahead to try and get back to competing with the likes of Crokes and those other big clubs now.
Yeah, and I suppose obviously the few years of dominance and success that he did have, and obviously when obviously Mossy Quinn's still playing, and obviously I think is Jeremy Connolly, is he still playing? Is he still with us?
He played a bit this year. He just one or two injuries and stuff like that, so he didn't play towards the end of the season. But no, he's still part of the club. Yeah.
Yeah, so like obviously when them lads were at their pomp, and obviously yourself and everyone going strong for Vincent Chair, Brennan, and lots of talent there, Nathan. So I suppose when you were at the peak of your powers, and still of course are, but when really successful years, I suppose, as I said a couple of minutes ago, really enjoyable time, because it was a journey that never looked like ending for you. You had supremely good players. So I suppose peak your powers, enjoyable football, and that's why you play.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. Looking back, and look, as I said, hopefully we'll have a few more good days to celebrate in the near future. We were just very lucky to have influences at the time. Like Pat Gilroy had won the All Ireland with Dublin as manager, and Mickey Whelan with him as well. So we were very lucky that we had a standard and a level that we could work from. Early morning gym sessions before work, and the club, in fairness, backed the management team financially and with pitches and squads.
Oh.
You there?
Yeah, go on ahead, Nate. I lost you, did I? All good?
Yeah, all good. What bit did you get me there?
Or yeah, I think you're just about to say that, just about the success over the years, and that's when I lost you, I think.
Yeah, no, look, I was just making the point that at the time we had Pat Gilroy there and Mickey Whelan with the Dublin setup, and they had won an All Ireland, and I suppose some of our lads were at their peak with Dublin in the county level, and they just brought that standard back to the club of Vincent's, and we were lucky that we could just, I suppose, jump on the bandwagon with them. And things like early morning gym sessions and the club, in fairness, back just financially, you know, yourself with physios and recovery sessions and, you know, meals after training and stuff like that, was kind of just starting in the club scene at that stage, and like sponsorship deals and stuff like that. So thankfully it all just kind of came together at once for us, and we had a great 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, and obviously the All-Ireland success in 2016, Nathan, obviously it was a great day for yourselves, your family, your club, and obviously of all Marino there, Nathan. It was a serious day in Croke Park, and obviously there's thought they have such a ridiculous probably decision to move that day away from St. Paddy's Day, but sure, that's maybe for another day's conversation. But what an enjoyable day for yourselves.
Yeah, look, amazing memories, and the club with 3 All-Irelands now, and hopefully we can add more in the future. But yeah, it's special on St. Patrick's Day, and thankfully that, you know, Marino and the club is only walking distance from Croke Park, so it was a special day straight back to the club, and you're celebrating with your best friends and family members who you're seeing almost every day of the week. So it was great success for the club. And hopefully, look, we'll be supporting the Camogie team now to go all the way as well, and it'd be great to have those memories back in the club with them too.
I suppose obviously walking up the steps of the Hogan stand on like St. Paddy's Day, and obviously you've been playing for St. Vincent's all your life, Nathan. So I suppose, like, how proud did it make you feel that day going up the steps, you know, playing with players you played with all your life? Probably the proudest day of your life.
Yeah, like, honestly, it's incredible. Like, even thinking back now, look, you look at old pictures, and you're still meeting those lads for a pint at Christmas or a coffee whenever you get a chance. It's just great memories, great journey with lads. You know, you go to the trenches, you're doing early morning gym sessions, and you're training like dogs during the winter to try for those days. But it makes it all worthwhile, and I'd absolutely love to do it all again.
Absolutely. I suppose the last couple of years, Nathan, obviously maybe a bit of transition going on for Vincent. So and obviously he will be back on the senior 1 grade next year, and I suppose where he belong, I suppose. But maybe in the last couple of years, has there been a bit of a transition in the last couple of years? Maybe future players dropping off, or so, you know, these things happen to great teams, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. I think we were just, I suppose, a bit more unlucky than a few other teams with COVID and stuff like that. Some people's priorities changed, and people moved away and put a bit more focus on their careers. And then obviously it came to a time where a lot of our players were retiring, and from that successful period. But look, thankfully with Vincent's, we always have up and coming promising players coming through, and it's just trying to get that balance right. So we didn't perform last year, and look, we drew a line under that and got a fresh start with new management this year, and thankfully we've got straight back up now. So we have huge work to do over the winter to get back competing with the big clubs now in Dublin, and I've no doubt we'll do that. But yeah, look, it was a difficult time, but look, everyone shared those difficult times during COVID, and other things going on. But I suppose it was just it was bad that COVID kind of crossed over with a lot of those players retiring at the same time, and it just hit us hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose obviously the Dublin Club Championship at the minute, obviously the likes of Levine are really strong there at the minute, and Kilmacud Crokes, we see the power of them at the minute too. Obviously, a new addition of Shane Walsh, and he's shooting lights out for the minute. I know Paul Mannion's injured at the minute. We hopefully be back soon, so we can get a chance to see the pair of boys in the full forward line. To be joy to behold. So I suppose Dublin Club football, as ever, is very strong, Nathan.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Like, there's still the likes of you know, obviously the heroes of the 70s and 80s, and they've got the heroes of the 2000s, like Stephen Cluxton and Keane O'Sullivan and all these lads, the Brogans. Like, it's just going to continue on. So hopefully Dublin will obviously be very disappointed for the last two seasons, but I've no doubt they'll go back up themselves to Division 1 now next year in the league. And I think the lads are saying to Kildare in the first, I think it might be Laois in the first round of senior championship next year, Kildare in the league maybe. But look, they're going to find it tough, but they've an unbelievably talented squad there, and they'll have Paul Mannion and Jack McCaffrey back now as well, which will probably send a few shockwaves around the country. But yeah, hugely competitive squad, and I look forward to seeing them next year.
Absolutely, I suppose. Like overall, how enjoyable is it to kind of play in the Dublin Club Championship, Nathan? Because the last couple of years for yourself, because even a couple of Cavan lads have kind of tried their trade up there. We see a lot of Mayo lads playing up there, even the Gaul lads, all sorts up there, just to even test it out and see what it's like. Nathan, so it just looks so enjoyable to play in.
Definitely, yeah, like, especially for myself in particular. I suppose I've been even luckier maybe playing in midfield. Like I've been marking Michael Dara McCauley, Brian Fenton, like Keane O'Sullivan in midfield for Crokes over the years. So I've been so lucky to rub shoulders with those lads, and that's all you wanted to do, is challenge yourself at the highest standard and see how you get on. James McCarthy as well. We've had a few battles now with Ballymun over the years, and yeah. There again.
Yeah, you got cut off there.
Sorry, yeah, no, just we've been very lucky now to play and mark some of the best footballers the country's seen. So that's it. As you said, there's a lot of lads who tried their trade in Dublin in club championship, but yeah, it's not for everybody.
Yeah, you give it a go for a year, and then you realise the standard you get up to.
Yeah,
you have a hell of a lot of work to do. It's probably sobering for a lot of lads, but it looks so enjoyable to watch. And absolutely, I suppose obviously you're going to stick around for Vincent's for the next couple of years. You're happy with your input, and you're just going to keep playing.
Yeah. Look, I wouldn't have been satisfied leaving last year after being relegated, and we've come straight back up now, which is great. So I suppose it's just the same thing. You want to challenge yourself against the best and try and get the club back to competing for championships. So that's the plan now for next year. But no, as long as my partner will let me go training 4 or 5 times a week, and I'm able to make those gym sessions after night feeds and stuff, I'm happy enough to keep going. I'll contribute for as long and as best I can.
Brilliant stuff, Nathan. Brilliant stuff. And I suppose we have to touch on obviously two St Vincent's, I suppose greats currently still playing, and obviously Mossy and Jeremy Connolly. So we could touch first on Jeremy. I think Jeremy retired from the Dublin scene in 2020, Nathan, but absolutely unbelievable talent.
Yeah, like absolutely incredible. Like we all see the scores and the passes and the hard work he puts in on footage, and it's replayed the whole time. But I suppose it's only when you train with him week in, week out, and grow up with him, I suppose you see really how magic he is. He's absolutely incredible, and he's a great lad as well. He's great in particular with a lot of younger lads coming through. He's a great man for putting his arm around somebody, giving him a bit of advice on movement or whatever it might be. But no, he's a great lad all around, 100%.
I suppose kind of when you're watching on training, or I suppose AVB games or whatever you're having yourself, like are you amazed by some of the stuff the man can do?
Yeah, like genuinely, he'd leave his speechless sometimes and stuff he does for the football. Absolutely incredible. I have 1 or 2 stories about different things he would have done, but he's just a pure athlete. He's just it's almost freakish how he carries the ball or kicks the ball, and but no, look, he works hard in his skill set as well. He doesn't just wake up and arrive down to the pitch and kick 2-4, 2-5. He works hard in the gym. He works hard in his basic skills and stuff like that as well. So it's no mistake that he's been one of the best footballers we've all seen.
I suppose obviously Dublin maybe have, I wouldn't say lacking kind of scorer, but like obviously they have some of the best forwards we've seen play the game in the last couple of years. But maybe in like I know obviously Germany, he's his own. I think you've lost you there, have I?
We're back there now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, sorry, no. I was just saying about Jeremy in just the last couple of years, and obviously Dublin have had some of those players we've seen play the game. But maybe I know obviously he did retire in 2020, but you maybe feel he pulled the pin a bit early, or do you feel his time was probably enough with the Dublin setup?
No, geez, I would have loved to see him play a lot longer, and I think he could have as well. Dublin have been unlucky now with injuries. I think Con had 2 bad injuries last year, and the year before that they were lacking 1 or 2 people up front, and obviously Mannion had left the squad too. But I suppose with Germany's got the whole package, and I suppose in those tight games, he he can take one of the opposition's main defenders out of the game, and he can kick from distance. He can have that bit of creativity that a lot of the rest of us don't have. So I've definitely missed him. I definitely would have liked to see him play a lot longer. But look, it's his own choice. He obviously had a few other things going on that he wanted to focus on. So he doesn't know Vincent or Dublin football anything at all. He's been absolutely incredible over the last number of years, and I'd have nothing but praise for him, to be honest.
Yeah, remarkable player, Nathan. I suppose Tomas Mossy Quinn, he's been on the block so long at this stage. He's a remarkable talent. He keeps himself in such good shape with Nathan. He's constantly putting it in for you lads, and he's a remarkable player, man. I suppose a word on Mr. Quinney.
Yeah, look, again, apart from being an incredible footballer, he's a great friend as well. He doesn't live too far from me here. We'd be very close. He'd be close to my brother and stuff. And his kids and my kids are starting to pal around now as well. But no, he just looks after himself, and he's just got the incredible skill set. He's been there since day one for myself on the panel, and it doesn't look like he's going anywhere anytime soon either. But look, he's just an unbelievable professional, and he loves challenging himself. Whether it be fitness tests in pre-season, or if it's against a top cornerback or fullback for an opposition team, he's just a great sportsman.
Yeah, remarkable man. He just keeps putting it in. I suppose when you're watching on and training with him, playing in games with him, like, are you ever just an amazement of him that he's still putting it in for years? Are you suppose you're maybe not surprised because you see him putting the work in by himself?
Yeah, he obviously puts the work in. He looks after himself, with his diet and physically and everything else. But I suppose he's 41. And I suppose there is times when he might be beating you in a fitness test or a sprint test or something. You kind of are thinking, what am I doing wrong here?
Yeah.
So, he's well able to keep surprising you. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, he's surprising us, and I'm not even playing or never got the joy of going up against him or whatever. He's amazing me every time he scores 1-5 or 1-6. He's a remarkable man, and I hope he keeps playing. But sure, that's life. Hopefully, he keeps getting himself out of it. And I suppose touching on, as you were rightly saying there, Jack McCaffrey and Paul Mannion being back, Nathan, not bad additions. I think they're okay players, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. I haven't seen too much of Jack playing now in the last year or two, but obviously I've seen Paul now in club football, and I've been lucky enough to play against him, or unlucky enough to play against him in the league. But no, two lads with unbelievable experience, and both on and off the pitch are going to bring a massive amount of quality back to the dressing room and stuff like that. So I'm sure everyone in Dublin is delighted to have them back.
Yeah, and I suppose that Dublin in the last, couple of 2 years, obviously coming up so close, even to try win the All Ireland this year. Maybe what you feel, maybe injuries or lads stepping away, but last 2 years, Nathan, what you maybe feel has gone wrong for Dublin, or obviously hope springs eternal next year, of course, too.
Yeah, they're still unlucky. I think they were probably a little bit more hard done by than the other counties with injuries. I'm probably going to get a little bit mixed up. But Con was the standout one this year, I think, with injury. I think John Small was injured as well. Yeah. So if those two players alone are going to, throw a bit of a spanner in the works. They've obviously lost Stephen Cluxon and a few other squad players. Stephen Cluxon, for me, is probably the biggest loss they've had in the last 2 years. And then the year before last, I think they lost to Mayo in the semi-final after extra time. Probably just lost a little bit of discipline. They probably weren't as composed as they would have been in the years previous to that. And in the Kerry game this year, it was a last minute free, great free by Sean O'Shea. So look, unlucky. They'll be chomping at the bit now for next year.
Yeah, they definitely will be, and obviously it'll be a great championship next year, and one we're really looking forward to. I suppose, Nathan, I was obviously doing my bit of research on yourself, your good self, and I thought the Donegal link and the Donegal roots. I suppose, and obviously you donned the Donegal jersey in recent years, I suppose. So if you want to explain to the viewers and the listeners that link and why you play for the Hills of Donegal.
Yeah, no, I grew up in Donegal. My family, my mum and dad would have moved back to Dublin in 2001, I think it was. So I was about 11 years of age. So between playing club football, I would have kept connections with Donegal. through Vincent's and DCU. So look, Jim McGuinness got onto me another 21 level, and Declan Bonner again then a senior. So no, look, I'm in Donegal as much as I can. I was up there last weekend with my own son, visiting my brother up there. So strong roots, strong connections, and I wish them the best. I think Donegal will have a difficult couple of years now ahead. Not only because Michael stepped away, I think it'll be interesting to see how the management get on. But yeah, no, I think Ulster's going to be very competitive. You see Armagh, Derry have definitely made big strides in the last year or two. Monaghan are probably going through a little bit of a transitional period as well. But Ulster's probably the most open it's been for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, Nathan. I suppose obviously 2 years ago since we won the COVID competition, so it's kind of feels like a distant memory at this stage. But and I suppose like was it enjoyable playing for obviously Donegal, kind of mixing the Dublin club football and playing for the Donegal
100%. Yeah, no, it was difficult because that was a year where we played 2 club championship games in April, and in the first round of the championship was against Cavan actually in the first weekend of May. So it was a bit jam-packed, but look, it was really, really enjoyable. There was bad snow that year as well, so I think we ended up playing between McKenna Cup and League. I think we ended up playing a match every weekend for 9 weeks in a row, because of weather and other things going on. But hugely enjoyable, getting to rub shoulders with the likes of Paddy McBurty and Hugh McFadden and the McHughes and Michael Murphy, everyone, like the quality there. I've been so lucky between county football and club football. I've been absolutely blessed with the type of players and I suppose the type of lads I've trained with. All such a high standard has been great. Challenged myself with those, but no, look, I wish Donegal the future and the best in the future. I think they will have a difficult couple of years, but it'll be interesting to see how they get on.
And obviously Michael Murphy retiring about 2 weeks ago now, Nathan. I suppose what more can you say about the man? Probably one of the best players of the generation, and was doing it since 2009 for Donegal, and probably captain most of them years too, Nathan. So what a man, what a player.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. You put him in the same bracket as Tomas and Jeremy and amongst many others. But no, great lad, great servant, Donegal football. I'd say there's a lot of people up there still in the deeps of depression after the news 2 weeks ago. But look, again, he owes nothing to Donegal football. He's done everything, and everyone's got nothing but great memories of the service he's given to Donegal football.
I suppose when you kind of remark there, saying maybe it potentially will be maybe a difficult couple of years ahead, like is that because of the loss of Murphy, or like a lot of people maybe were saying, and obviously you don't want to believe everything you say in the press, but obviously Paddy Carr and Aidan O'Rourke coming in, maybe Donegal maybe really wanted to get someone. I know the recruitment process did take a long time, so maybe is that why maybe they're underwhelmed maybe with a new manager, or is it just maybe like a more transition going on there, or what do you think?
I think it's a combination of a few things. I think with Michael stepping away, obviously he's been I suppose that focal point of attacking for Donegal for so long. So there's going to be a change of tactics there. You've got new management coming in, and look, hopefully they do great, and it'll be interesting to see. Now I'll be keeping a close eye when McKenna Cup comes around in a few weeks, and then obviously going into the league campaign. The league is going to be so. That league's going to be a dog eat dog as well, especially after Dublin going down last year and the likes of Monaghan staying up. But yeah, I just think I think with the other counties, after making a few steps in the right direction, like Derry and Armagh that I mentioned, I just think it's going to be very competitive, and Donegal might just struggle a little bit for the next year or two. But look, hopefully I'm wrong.
And obviously kind of Paddy Carr, Aidan O'Rourke, Bernard Jackman, obviously former Ireland rugby player, and obviously Paddy Bradley have like all gone in there. So I suppose it's an array of people coming in, Nathan. So I suppose maybe players will be excited by it.
Oh, definitely. They'll definitely be excited. It's a fresh start. I believe the Convoy training facility that I would have trained in was kind of being built when I was up there, and I think it's finished now. There's a huge amount of young talent coming through, and then a brand new, fresh management team. I think Declan Bonner was there for 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. So look, the lads there will be excited. I wouldn't be reading too much into some of the rumours doing the rounds there on social media and stuff about the lads. Donegal like football. You know yourself up there, like everyone eats, sleeps, and breathes Donegal football, and a fresh start could be just what they need now as well. So I know I'm contradicting myself a bit there, but I think it'll be difficult. But on this other side of things, it could be just what they need as well.
I suppose, Nathan, when you were kind of playing for Donegal, like what did you make maybe off the Ulster Championship, or kind of playing like Ulster teams, obviously, because it was like a Dublin man playing for like the likes of Donegal, like it would have been kind of very fresh for you, and new players and new ideas and new waves of going against teams. So overall, what was it like for you?
I absolutely loved it. Suppose I was coming on the back of winning the championship with Vincent's, and I suppose we've had huge rivalries with the likes of Ballymun and the Fina and all the clubs in Dublin. So that kind of hostile, tight atmosphere is just up my street. And going to Donegal, and you know the atmosphere at McKenna Cup games even was just was incredible, to be honest with you. You know, you could be playing for a man and you'll have Ricey McMillan from Tyrone and Rory Gallagher screaming at you from the sideline. And then going into league games and traveling around, you know, again, you're playing Tyrone and Cavan, whoever else, and it's non-stop, but it's great. It gives huge motivation. But no, as I said, I absolutely loved it. Great experience, training, matches, the whole journey. I look back on it with a lot of fond memories.
I suppose kind of like mixing the commitments off with county, and obviously club is a big enough commitment. We see so many calls these days about maybe trying to lessen it, and it's very much time consuming, I suppose, Nathan. So when you were in that county bubble for the 2 or 3 years, like how did you find kind of mixing it?
Yeah, like again, I personally enjoyed it. Like people say, you know, how did you manage to drive up and down the road the whole time, or how did you manage with work and this and that? Like obviously there's times you're shattered, but at the same time, when you're jumping into a car with Paddy McBurty or any of those lads, or you're getting up into lash and rain in Donegal to do laps of a pitch, like you still just have to embrace it. Like it is a huge commitment, but it's all worthwhile in the end. It doesn't be long coming around to championship, and the band are out, and it's a sunny day in Clonus and stuff like that, and it's absolutely incredible. So look, the winters can be tough when you're in pre-season, but it's all worthwhile 100%.
Absolutely. I suppose overall, Nathan, do you feel the game itself is in a good place at the minute? I suppose, are you enjoying going along to games? And I suppose obviously Dublin are really enjoyable to watch as usual, but generally, do you feel the game's a good place?
Yeah, no, I do. Obviously, they've made a few changes recently with, you know, the mark coming in over the last couple of years, and a few changes to rules that you suppose you kind of need to get used to with the black card and tactical fouls and stuff like that. But no, I think the hunger and the passion is there for everyone to see, and club football in all counties, from what I gather, is getting stronger and stronger, and even TV footage and social media and stuff like that, podcasts like yourself. You're all flying the flag, and no, in personally, in my opinion, I think it's in a great place. Yeah.
Absolutely. I suppose we can maybe see in recent weeks about maybe like league finals being scrapped for like the weaker counties, and you know, obviously we had the kind of expenses malarkey maybe around last year and all, and at times you'd wonder who's kind of running the show up there. So I think it is in our best interest to kind of look after the players, and I suppose nourish them, because at the end of the day, Nathan, if we didn't have players, we wouldn't have a product.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I suppose. Look, you're gonna. I think almost every year you have a little bit back and forth over TV rights and stuff like that, and coverage of games, and then obviously there's people kind of toss it up about bringing Dublin out of Croke Park and stuff. But look, they've done that in recent years, so I don't pay too much attention to that stuff. I pay more attention to kind of the quality of football and the games themselves. I thought the Tailteann Cup this year was a huge success. I think it was Westmeath and
Cavan.
Westmeath, and who was it?
Cavan, we were bet.
Yeah, Westmeath or did you beat Sligo in the semi-final, was it?
Semi-final, and Westmeath but Offaly, yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought that was a huge success. I thought the teams that got towards the end of semi-finals and finals really embraced it, and look, that's going to be. I'm going to look forward to watching that next year as well. I thought it was a really successful year. I don't know what you thought of yourself.
Yeah, no, it was good, but I suppose it would have been nice to win it, though. Would have been nice to win it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we'll go at it. We'll go at it again next year, Nathan. But we'll wait and see. It was a rip-roaring success, Nathan. And I suppose obviously at the start we were kind of him and Hone about talking, but I think it was a rip-roaring success seeing the Cavan and Westmeath fans going about, and it looked really really enjoyable. I suppose kind of looking back, and I suppose looking forwards, and obviously you're not done yet. But so far, Nathan, who are the kind of toughest players you played against, and the best player you played with over the years?
Geez, they're tough questions. The toughest players, like you're gonna have Brian Fenton up there is probably number one.
He's not bad, Nathan. He looks tough.
No, he is. But look, he's tough. But it's his movement and his skill. He's so big, but he's well able to move, and he's got a serious skill set in both feet. He's well able to throw a dummy, although he's bigger than I am. But no, he's a great lad as well. I met him there today too, and he's in flying form. So he's going to be chomping at the bit as well next year. But look, as I mentioned earlier, I've been so lucky. Like, it'd be a toss-up between the likes of Brian Fenton, James McCarthy, even Mark and Dermot in training sessions is a bit much for me at times. But no, I couldn't possibly pick between one. Even over the years, Mark and Michael, Darren McCauley, and a few others, they're all serious footballers. But yeah, between James and Brian Fenton, I'd say. And the best player I played with, I'd probably have to say Tomas Quinn. Although Dermot and Michael Murphy and Paddy McBurty, they're all exceptional players. Oran McNeilis there as well. Like, Oran McNeilis was serious in training as well.
Yeah, and like a lad that's not even about it, only he's committing to the cause. He says he'd be an unbelievable player to be watching, but he's not. Doesn't look too interested. Yeah.
But I think what Tomas has done in the game, so consistent, and again, some of the stuff he does in training is you just have to stop in your tracks and laugh. But no, Tomas is incredible. I think I'd have to put him at number one if I had a gun to my head.
Brilliant stuff. So as last one, Nathan, you've been brilliant with your time. So there's a younger Nathan. Obviously, you're still very young, but a younger Nathan Mullins around the country trying to make a breakthrough onto a county team, even their club team. What kind of general advice or even general life advice would you give them?
Just to be patient, I suppose, and have your targets, set your targets, and work towards those. You know, if it's a particular weight you want to lift on a bench in the gym, or if it's a particular 1K run you want to do, or working on your left foot or your right foot, it would just to make yourself a couple of realistic targets, work towards those, and then add to it. That's, I suppose, what it worked for me. And obviously you get knocked back with injuries and different things, or a manager not picking you for too many games during a campaign. But look, if you stick at it and develop your skills and your strength and conditioning, there's no telling where you can go.
This very last one, I suppose, general plans for the future. Keep playing keep playing as much ball as possible for Vinnies, and I suppose a bit of coaching or a bit of management in the future. Yeah,
definitely. Like, it's good now. We're even getting text messages about a few mini leagues and nurseries and stuff like that with Vincent's. I've actually got a stepdaughter, Sadie, now, who plays with a local club, Nave Marnoak, here in Portmarnock. So I have to try and get the transfer down to Vincent's for her, if my partner Kelly allows it. But no, I'll play on for as long as I can, and then definitely get involved as much coaching I can too. I'm 32 now, so I'd like to think I have another year or two left in me at a highest level possible, and then we'll go from there. But look, I'm similar to my dad in that way, that I would see myself as a GAA and a club man. So I'll contribute as much as I can to the club in the future, definitely.
Brilliant stuff, Nathan. Well, the very, very best luck with it, and hope that the transfer goes through as well. You get your say in that matter. It'll be tough. It'll be tough, no doubt. But fingers across for you, my man. Nate Mullins, that was an absolute pleasure. Thanks a million for joining me this week.
Thanks very much.
Podcast is brought to you by yourgarage.com. Using the code JMac podcast to get 15% off on the website. Coming up to Christmas, so get on the website, get the gear, and get suited and booted. I feel very underdressed compared to Nathan, but look, that'll do for tonight anyway.
If you have me on again, I'll wear my pajamas.
Dublin pajamas.
The
5 or 6 in a row ones. Nathan, you're an absolute gentleman. Cheers.
No, listen, appreciate that. Thanks for having me on. Thank you.
Cheers, sir.